Are you ready for our bullish talk show? We got guests for days, all queuing in a row. The biggest names in the DeFi space. Black, white and yellow, guests from every race. So hands off your dick, it's now you're in luck. We're talking crypto daily with a big pump duck. Big duck energy, let's make banks fast. Come chill with us here on the Pondcast.
Yo, how's it going, everybody? Another week of the Pondcast here. I'm your host, Easy Zabo, the speaker for the Doug the Duck project. We've got an exciting host here today. His name is Hege Dev, and he is the developer responsible for the HEGE project. And today he is going to talk to us a little bit about, how his team has made it successfully. We're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to build a great meme, and talk to essentially a dev who's been really putting in the work into their project for an extended period of time, much like us, and understand what it takes to make a project successful. So happy to have you here today, Hege Dev. Why don't you take a second to kind of introduce yourself and maybe talk a little bit about your personal background in crypto and meme coin and what led you to create your own coin.
Yeah, thank you, Zabo. Thanks for having me. Where I was started, I think 2020, I think like a lot of people, kind of getting into crypto when it really started to sort of make the headlines. I was sort of invested in Bitcoin, Ethereum, kind of traditional stuff. I kind of went all in, and I think, basically lost everything I made on leverage, basically at the very top. So that's kind of how that ended. And then I think January this year kind of picked it back up again, started getting into meme coins. Cause I think I watched a YouTube video actually, and it was kind of explaining why they think meme coins are going to be the meta for this cycle. That pretty much convinced me, and I was kind of spending all day researching, looking around for projects. I didn't really have much luck. I think that there was kind of the start of the whole rug pull fiasco and things like that. And I was either getting in too late to projects that already had their massive run-ups, or getting rug pulled on low caps, and that kind of encouraged me to start my own project. So I thought if I can't get in early on anything else, I'm just gonna give it a go myself. My background is a graphic designer, so that's my day job. So it kind of meant I had everything you need really to get a project up and running. Graphics, a website, character, ideas, all kind of came quite naturally, and kind of got the project started from there. Kind of all started with a Reddit post really. I had a lot of questions in I think it was the Solana subreddit, around liquidity, getting investors and all this, and from that post I had quite a lot of interest. Like I already had a site at that point and an idea, and then it kind of took off from there. I think a lot of people were interested, sort of joined the community, and that's kind of where we started. And then Reddit has been kind of our main platform ever since, really. From that date. The idea for HEGE basically came around. So I was very much into Ponke and Peng as well. I really like this sort of character-based meme coins. So I was thinking, okay, what can I create that's kind of catchy and sort of like based off an animal as well. So HEGE popped into my head, and I thought it was just like the perfect idea. It's short, it's snappy, kind of HEGE-fund. You kind of take a sort of a pun with that. The whole GME stuff was kind of kicking off around that point as well. It just made sense. So that's kind of where it started. And I think we raised about $30,000 for pre-sale, and then we went up to about a market cap of 2 million on the first day, and then kind of went down to 250k, which was quite rough. But I know that's kind of the pattern with a lot of these meme coins. You have a really good pump at the start, and then you have the drop of death, and then you've got to do everything you can to try and recover it from that. And we had great support. I think a lot of people saw the work they've been put into the project. They saw the potential of it, and kind of went from there, really.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I know that like you guys said that you went through a pretty crazy jump, right up to 2 million in the first day, and then you started to see some consolidation. Looking at your old chart right before you started in April, it seemed like a perfect triangle trading upwards, and then it just absolutely exploded. And then, of course, you've been earmarked a couple times by these long consolidation periods, and normally right after these long consolidation periods, you just see a really large gap up. So it seems like you guys have been trading sideways along with the rest of the market, much in the same way that Doug the Duck has been trading sideways. So we understand like seeing Bitcoin hit basically 69,000, which is starting to break out of that top side resistance of a cup and handle chart that's been just growing for, the better part of 3 to 4 years. It looks like we're really about to start to see that expansion, especially with elections coming up, potentially more rate cuts. All of those two things are going to be good to bring liquidity and trust into the market. So I really think we're on the verge of another huge pump right now. And a lot of these projects, just like your own, that have been consolidating, I think are going to definitely see some money flow back into the projects and absolutely help explode and stuff. So that's pretty impressive. I think the other impressive thing is the ability for you to trade in this 10 to call it $25 million market cap range for the better part of now going on 5 months. You guys have created a lot of staying power and have figured out how to essentially build a successful meme coin to keep investors, feeling comfortable in coin, feeling comfortable holding the coin, continuing ultimately to be happy with their investment in their meme coin project. So, I guess the question here is what is on your end? What do you think it takes to build a successful meme coin?
Okay, so there's a lot of elements to it. I think one of them is brand. I think that's incredibly important. So it's obviously more than just the graphics you create and the colors you use. It's the tone of voice. It's how you communicate with people. It's the storytelling. How do you let people know what the project's all about? How do you keep people engaged? So I'd say brand is one of the main elements to that. I think as well, like keeping the community engaged is incredibly important. We've gone through peaks and troughs. I think when engagement spikes, so does our chart basically. So we're always looking for ways to try and boost engagement and keep people interacting with the project. You hear it all the time, but community is what's going to make or break these kind of things. I know Doug has got an amazing community. It's super active in there. I think that's always a good sign with projects when there's communities really popping off. So
what kind of steps do you take to build your brand, to build the Hege brand?
Yeah, so I know everyone here won't know the full sort of details on what makes Hege, but basically the whole idea with Hege is that he's got a crush on this girl called Hegena, who's like a pink hedgehog basically. And the whole goal of the project is basically to get to 1 billion in market cap, because that's when he can finally impress Hegena and win her over basically. As the market cap goes up, there's different milestones. So I think 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 25 million, they each have chapter. So we've done the last few ones have been animated. So we do an animated series, and it kind of shows Hege and Hegena kind of getting closer together as the market cap increases. So we've kind of gamified that whole side of a meme coin basically. That's the whole kind of point of it. So there's that. We kind of do memes around it. It's kind of letting people know this is what's going on. This is what the goal is. This is what Hege wants. And that's kind of a big part of what's formed the brand, basically. I think, nice graphics and having consistency is super important as well. I mean, as a graphic designer, I'm super OCD about it. I want to make sure it's all on point. So that's a big part of it as well. So they're the two main things really we've done in terms of branding and letting people know what we're all about basically.
Awesome, man. Well, I did want to ask you a couple questions about your guys' growth strategy. As I understand it, you guys launched kind of a liquidity pool or potentially a marketing wallet that you guys are using for, kind of pushing the project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, go.
No. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that.
So we actually launched, it's my first project. So in terms of like allocation and stuff, I kind of just threw some numbers at the wall and just went with it basically. So yeah, far from ideal in terms of like allocation. Like I had a 5% allocation for myself. Half went into the liquidity pool and half was sort of pre-sale tokens basically. So from the start, we're kind of on the back foot in terms of like marketing budget. We just didn't really have one. So I think for the last 5 months, we basically relied on community donations to fund marketing and CX efforts. So I think combined, we must have raised, I think over $300,000 from the community. So that's funded, 5 exchange listings, 2 of them being Mexi and Bitmart, which would, we made quite a big push for that, and the community basically made it happen. And the same for the marketing as well. We've kind of made pushes based off donations from the community. We had an NFT collection release last month, which we raised about 200K from. So in terms of like marketing money and exchange money as well, like that's kind of covered us off for the short to medium term, which has been great because obviously, we don't want to have to ask the community for money, but some of these things that have happened within Hege just wouldn't have been possible without community donations. So we've kind of made sure we've had like incentives and reward programs as well. So we've got a Friends of Hege program, we call it. So the top donators from that got special NFTs, rare NFTs in the Hegen's collection. So essentially that's kind of how we've been funding the project so far. And obviously now we've got the NFT raise. It's kind of, we have a lot more flexibility in what we can do, kind of just about scraping by before. Community did a lot of the sort of shilling and engagement for the project. But now we have the potential to do that alongside, which is really great.
How I would say with your NFTs, what's your current floor price? Have you seen continued demand after the launch?
Yeah, so we did. I think for the first few weeks, it was really good. It kind of stayed above the mint price. I think recently it's dropped down a little bit. So I think the mint price was 0.8 Solana. It's now 0.74 Solana. But okay. What we've found is that it's basically the floor price is kind of tied to the Hege price. So when we have a big pump, the NFTs or the floor will get swept out and we go up to 0.9 or 1 Sol. And then, if we have a bit of a drop, it basically does the opposite of that.
Very nice. Well, I like the NFT project. And obviously you're a digital artist yourself. Do you do crypto full time or do you have a full-time digital artistry job?
So I work for a marketing agency. I'm a brand designer basically within a marketing agency. So I'm still doing that at the moment. Like, as much as you can have the meme coin like balance in your wallet. It doesn't really mean much. It's not until you actually swap it out. It's not actually money. So it's not been. I'm not at the point basically where I can quit my job and focus on Hege solely. Potentially, if we get up to above 50 million, then it's starting to look very realistic. But for the moment, it's been kind of half and half. Like I think. For the first 3 or 4 months of Hege, like I was working like 16 hours a day, basically 2 full-time jobs back to back. And that was rough. I've had to kind of take a little bit of a step back in terms of working hours now because, that can get quite intense, which, I know you're a busy guy as well. I'm sure you can sort of testify for that. It's not super healthy to be working, I would say 17, 18 hours a day.
I would agree with you, man. I recently went into a different, I was working 12 hours a day and, I had a little bit of time for, crypto and stuff like that. It's a double-edged sword. Like if you have the money from a full-time job position that you can do just fine without crypto, it makes it a whole lot easier to manage your crypto and do it with the level head that one typically has from an investor, right? So, you're not worried about having to take profits in order to, put food on the table for the week and have to have, investing in stuff as your number one breadwinner, because that can be very cyclical. And when you have bad days, you start to worry about your health and your living, opportunities, expenses, and well-being. So I think when you can have a comfortable medium within managing cryptocurrency and managing real life, that can be very important. So obviously, staying healthy, like, you want to work on a project as much as humanly possible and you want to put all this time in, but at the end of the day, like, you do have to make sure that you keep that real life in check and keep it happy and stuff, because that feeds all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there was points, in Hege at the start where, my life outside of crypto just wasn't great. Like, my relationship with my girlfriend suffered, with my family as well. Just pouring all this time into it, obviously it's great for the project, but in terms of like my own sort of personal well-being, it wasn't great. And it's been, I think the last 3 months, like there's been a lot of work being done by the team as well. So some community members basically have really stepped up and starting to take some of the workload of the project, which has been a huge help for the project and me personally as well. It means a lot more can get done, and I'm not kind of sat in front of a computer from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep.
Well, that's business 101, isn't it? Like, we're here today to talk about what it is to build a meme coin. And really, you can't build a meme coin yourself. If only one person is truly working on a project, it can be very difficult to remain consistent. People suffer from burnout, and we're all investors too. If you've got, money into another project and stuff, and it starts to go up, and that starts to pull your attention away. So I think, like you said, like, one of the best things that you can do is delegate, especially like if you're running a business, like the ability to delegate tasks, to delegate community issues, to use the people that are in your community and allow themselves to essentially come out of the woodworks to people that want to work the hardest for the project, rather than ones that just strictly want to be compensated by it. I think when you could really truly find those people, like, your meme coin is going to be built out by all of those people. The more you have available to help, the more you can get accomplished and the more you can get done with people working towards a central goal. And of course, at the same time, like, spreading out the work, you get to have some of those real life aspects back, because, if you're not good at home, then you're not going to be good at your work, right? So
yeah 100% agree. I mean, I think the moment where, because Justin is a very sort of prominent member of the team, he does a huge amount for the project. There's Riz as well. Them guys came in like just before the 30 million pump, and I think they were a huge reason why that could happen, basically because the workload could be distributed. They could focus on the things they were good at. I could focus on the things I was good at. And I think it was a huge contributor, basically. I think, like, near the start of the project, as I said, it was kind of a solo effort for the first, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say. And some of the people that kind of got adopted into the team, basically just, weren't very nice. They kind of left in a storm and blew it up and nearly killed off the project. So that wasn't a good experience. And I think after that, I was kind of a bit, a few trust issues, I think, from sort of trusting people with things. But I think as soon as some of the guys sort of showed what they can do and we built the trust, it was, off to the races from there, basically. Incredibly important.
Well, I think it's important, man. So we've talked about a couple different things. Obviously, community is big, involving that community, delegating work to them and having them, become, diehard advocates for you. That helps spread the word quicker and quicker. But, spreading the word isn't easy and stuff. Sometimes we do it best within shilling and going into spaces and stuff. And as I understand it, you have a couple KOLs and maybe even a marketing agency that you utilize to kind of stay more relevant on X and subreddit. So maybe you want to talk about, the necessity of KOLs as an advocate of getting the word out about your project. And then Also to, tell me a little bit about, why you've chosen such KOLs and maybe what a marketing agency does for you.
Yeah, so I think as I mentioned earlier, since the NFT raise, we had a lot more funds to play with. So that's when on we bought Soka as a KOL, which I believe you guys are kind of.
Yep, correct. They were the theme. They were the theme for our first Pondcast was Soka Data, and it was awesome talking to him for about an hour and getting kind of that insight of what it takes to be essentially a KOL and how you get mixed up in the space and what that kind of style of the life is. So each one of our podcasts has had a different theme, so to speak, and the first one was kind of the influencer game, and then our second podcast was about kind of how shady and scummy the game can be and about how people are trying to kind of change that. And now it's really awesome to kind of have a podcast today be the theme of, how do you build a successful meme coin that can be worth, upwards of 8 figures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of KOLs, we haven't really utilized KOLs too much. We've been I don't know if you know much about our Reddit strategy, but we are huge on Reddit, basically, and all the meme coin subreddits. We're constantly shilling, constantly making posts. So for a lot of newcomers to the space, a lot of them will go to Reddit as their first kind of place to look for research.
How many Reddit followers do you guys have?
So we have, off the top of my head, it's about 1,500. We've only recently really started to grow our subreddit. It's been more kind of shilling in other subreddits. So we've got 1,700 at the moment in our subreddit. But yeah, so we basically just utilize Reddit for the longest time. But one of the reasons we chose to start working with some KOLs and in particular Soka is because I know you've spoken to Soka. He's a super intelligent guy. He knows what he needs to do. He knows the game very well. Obviously, he looks at a lot of data, and he can see trends and strategize based off that. So that's one of the main reasons we chose Soka is because although he's not the biggest influencer on X, he has high quality followers. He's in with the Pondcast team and Mimi team as well. He's close with them. So it kind of just seemed like a no-brainer, really, to have someone that's worked with huge projects like that. Sort of be adopted into the Hege team as well. It's not officially a team role, but it's kind of very close, kind of consultant kind of thing. So that's kind of why we chose Soka. A big part of that was strategy as well, basically, because no one in the team here is led a meme coin to the hundreds of millions. I think that's quite a rare thing to do. So having someone on board that hasn't necessarily done that, but he's been in that environment. He knows what they've done. He can pass advice over and all that kind of thing. It's really kind of invaluable to have. So that's kind of our story with KOLs. We just haven't really used them that much before because we just didn't have the supply, basically. As I said, there was my personal allocation at the start, but none of that was marketing, none of that was for centralized exchanges. It was all just personal allocation. So having funds now means that we can pay for them, and they're not cheap by any means. You pay the crypto premium for everything to do with marketing in this space. So it's expensive, but it's a great partnership, and we're looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. Well, I know when you're in this space, for a team that can last a long time, a team that can last over 5 months, you guys are, I think, closing in on 6 months or going on 7 months now. What are some ways that you have continuously created value to, maybe sway investors coming in and out of your project? What's worked for you and maybe what hasn't worked for you?
Yeah, so I think we've kind of built value in a few ways. So one of the ways is with utility. So we've built a few tools and we've built a few kind of, I was saying before the call actually to Battle, we've done some AI bots on X, basically, that will auto shill. They will basically just go out and comment on
on KOL posts and sharing the Telegram, basically all like automatically, which is great to have. But yeah, sorry, got slightly short there. But yeah, so the utility is definitely one of the ways. Yeah, we built the Cheatulator, it's called. So you kind of input your wallet and it will tell you how much you lost, basically, because you sold Hege. So I know a lot of the guys like from
Is that the Cheat meter? What did you call that?
Cheatulator. So it's
Cheatulator.
Cheatulator.com. I think the URL is having some issues at the moment. It might be back up, but so that was like a cool thing, and it kind of engages the community. It's kind of a cool thing to have within the project. You know, we've provided value as well with like the NFT collection. So one of the reasons it was so successful is because we built into it a distribution system. So depending on what rarity you mint, which is completely random, you will get a bigger share of the funds raised, basically. So we have a certain amount of the NFT mints that go into a wallet. And now if you have a rare NFT, you'll get like a bigger chunk of that as like a revenue share. So that's another way we've sort of built value as well. I think as well, like content is king. Like I say that all the time, but yeah, I think it's so important. Like, you know, if you have sort of content that isn't up to scratch and isn't sort of competing with other meme coins out there, I think you'll kind of just fall behind. Doug, like you guys are doing a really good job of that. Like the content's great, it's funny, it's entertaining. It all kind of ties back into the whole sort of pond thing you guys have going on. And the same with Hege as well. Like we tie it all back into this narrative we've got around Hege wanting to impress Hegena, basically, and kind of creating that content ecosystem. I think it's a really good way to sort of provide value and keep people engaged. So yeah, that's kind of the main ways I'd say we've created value there.
And you guys said that you either were trying to get listings or already have gotten listings.
So we have 5 CXs on at the moment, and yeah, we're looking at doing another one. So I think you guys have.
How would you like how the experience with like maybe say Mexi and Bitmart, which are some of those like first exchanges that I think teams really look to go after? How would you say those experiences and those listings have either benefit you or maybe hurt you with regard to a meme project?
Yeah, so I mean, so you're not on any exchanges yet, are you?
We are on 2bit, but we've not. Okay. We have future plans to list as we start to get higher into the income and further into the crypto season. We're definitely on an uptrend right now after breaking a very long downtrend. So it's something that we're looking ahead to in the future. But it's always nice to know if those ended up generating a lot of buzz and leading to more investors, or are they things that, you know, led to increasing volume? Like, you know, what was your experience through using some of those exchanges, and how early did you do it in your project?
Yeah. I mean, so the main reason I asked if you guys had one yet is because like we've gone through the whole thing. Like we've gone through small exchanges, like bigger exchanges as well. Like we've seen like every side of it. So yeah, it's we've got 2bit as well, actually. So that was one of our first exchanges. We went with 2bit, Asbit and Indox. They're all 2bit is definitely the biggest one out of them, but the other two were like very small. But I think the aim for that was basically to generate a bit of a pump. You know, CXs are seen as the kind of golden ticket, basically, in terms of generating a pump and attracting new investors. So that worked really well for us the first time. So basically the pump to 30 million was because we went on them 3 exchanges at once, and we kind of hyped it up, made a whole fuss about it. You know, community was expecting just 1 exchange, and then we over-delivered with 3, and then we just had a whole mania phase after that, and it was really good. And in terms of volume from them exchanges, like we don't really see that much there, to be honest. It's very minimal. We see a lot more from Mexi and Bitmart. Mexi especially, there's quite a lot over there. I think it's probably the main exchange that like degens are on, I'd say, for like trading meme coins. Like if they're not on the chain, then Mexi has got quite a big choice for meme coins. So we saw a bit of traction off that as well from the marketing we did over there. So we did an airdrop, I think, to load to their users, which was great. Yeah, MEXC and Bitmart had very little effect basically compared to the other three we did. Sorry. Part of that is probably because we announced that basically on the way down from 30 million, like we had in a very, very aggressive run up. So in hindsight, I think it's probably a little bit too early for us to do that. We need to let the chart settle down first and start to consolidate before we pull the trigger on the next exchange. But I think, it kind of led us to, the drop in price and community asking, when's it coming? We just kind of, went with it and pulled the trigger. And again, that was over delivering. People thought it would just be MEXC, but we managed to kind of negotiate and work a bit more into the budget. And we saw a good sort of smaller pump from that, but it wasn't anything like the first few we had. So I think in hindsight, as I said, we'd kind of leave a bigger gap and not rush it too much. And in terms of like experience of being on MEXC and Bitmart, we've had a few issues with MEXC, like arbitrage. So it's mostly solved now, but at the start, our market maker was basically being too slow to update the price. So when there was a big sell or a big buy on the DEX, MEXC, our MEXC bot basically wouldn't catch it quick enough, and there was people that were front running us basically. So if we had a big buy that sent us up 500k in market cap, for example, there was bots on MEXC that were buying for our market maker bot, realized the price had gone up, so they'd buy from MEXC, send it over to the DEX wallet, and then sell it for a 3 or 4% profit. So that was kind of frustrating. I'm not sure if that same thing happens on other exchanges as well, but that's definitely where we noticed it the most. And then I think I keep going about MEXC because that has the most volume, and that's where we see the most action basically. But there's been times where we obviously you have to do your own market making on MEXC, and you have an equal share of, we're tied to USD on MEXC. So we have, for example, the requirements for like 30k USD, 30k hedge. And we see times where there's a lot of buying going on, and it would suddenly be 20k USD and my math isn't working. 50k USD and 10k hedge or whatever. So then you have to go on DEX and buy like 20k at once, and it can be really good for that. So it kind of, instead of a lot of smaller buys, it can help you create sort of bigger pumps basically. So the team can decide when them buys take place on behalf of the MEXC users basically. So that was great. But in general, like MEXC and Bitmart was a lot more expensive in the first few exchanges we did, and we just didn't see the same results whatsoever. But I think a lot of that is down to timing.
Well, I know, I want to spend, maybe about 10 minutes or so before we get into some stuff that Doug the Duck is doing to just talk about the general markets and stuff right now. I think earlier today we saw Bitcoin price hit right around 69,000. And I think a lot of that buzz is coming from news that's coming out that the New York Stock Exchange approved options trading for spot Bitcoin ETFs, which means, obviously now you can start having some larger leveraged positions. And of course, there's a lot of options traders out there in the traditional TradeFi market. So what do you think about what do you think about the prospects of Bitcoin right now? And how do you think maybe this options trading would impact Bitcoin price?
Yeah, I mean, I've not been staying too up to date with the sort of macro environment. Focused very much on sort of just the meme coin space, and obviously I know that's hugely impacted by the macro. I think that sounds like a great thing. I think it's happened at the right time as well. I think Bitcoin's in need of some catalysts at the moment. It's at quite an important point, in terms of TA anyway. It's in the sort of bull flag, and it looks like it wants to break out. So any news like that you can get is obviously amazing for the markets, and obviously once that starts to happen as well, the liquidity will start going back into meme coins. I think that we've seen over the last few months there's been a lot of uncertainty in Bitcoin, and it's meant that people are just pulling their cash out of meme coins because it's just too volatile and too risky. We can see 5% drop in Bitcoin might mean a 50% drop in a meme coin. So obviously when Bitcoin isn't looking good, then meme coins are kind of the first to kind of get hit, really. So that isn't great. But it's been good to see Bitcoin on the way up. I think it had a few people getting worried a little bit. It's been I think since March it's been consolidating here. So it's been a tough time, but things are looking good again, and hopefully we can have a nice end to the year and the full bull market in next year.
Beautiful. Well, I guess my next question, apologies here. I would probably say, what are your favorite blockchains? So you decided to kind of like launch your project on Solana. What were some of the reasons why you wanted to launch your project on Solana versus some other blockchains? And are you active on other blockchains just as a trader or investor?
Not really. I have a few politified coins on Ethereum that I'm just kind of going along with the narrative on, basically. But apart from that, it's basically all Solana. I think the reason I chose Solana was because at the time, Solana was just blowing up. Like, it was meme coins. That was a place to be. I think, that was around April, and that's the main reason, basically. That's where all the liquidity was, and that's where all the hype was. So it made the most sense. Obviously, I know, it's kind of fell back a little bit in terms of like the sort of interest in Solana meme coins, which I think is starting to turn again. But I think, I think it got a bad rap, basically, because, all the rug pulls, and there was a lot of bad actors there, Pump Fun. A lot of liquidity just got taken by them kind of people, which obviously isn't great, especially for organic projects. Just trying to make a difference in the space and be nice and be honest. That was a shame to see, but essentially mostly Solana.
Well, that rug pulse over on the on Pump.Fun is still very much happening, and it does soak a lot of liquidity out of the project of people looking for quick X's on very, very low market cap coins. And with how many are launched every single day, it's just absolutely crazy how much it's clogging the blockchain and whatnot. So it'll be interesting. Like you said, I think a lot of people pulled money out of meme coins, but the best growth for cryptocurrencies is going to be in the next phase of expansion for Bitcoin, from when it goes from most likely a $80,000 market cap upwards to about 125,000 market cap. I think that expansion after this amount of accumulation is going to happen pretty fast and pretty steady over the next 3 to 6 months. So it'll be pretty interesting to just kind of like see what happens and stuff, because I think memes are going to go through an amazing expansion during that time. And the projects that people are going to be investing in and putting their money in are going to be the ones that, they ultimately trust, that are actually honest developers that are trying to make a difference in the world and are trying to make a difference on their project and consistently working for their project. And it has a good community that is backing overall the project and making sure that they're doing everything they can to spread the word and help out the developer, because, these are community projects, right? And these meme coins, they're we were listening to some of the most prominent people in crypto. Murad was basically saying that a lot of these projects, they're community-run projects, they're community-based projects. The investment is essentially a community investment. You're investing in the community to see it grow. So it's you as an investor, as a speaker, you can't really give future projections for a project. You can't say where a project's going up or down, because it's only as good as the community and the community's willingness to put their money to build the community. So in that regard, I think what you guys are doing is very awesome. I think it's awesome, that we talked a little bit about today about the time investment it is to work on these projects and work for your people. It can be detrimental in your real life, and for everybody listening out there, if from a cryptocurrency standpoint, smart investing is huge. These are meme coins. This stuff is meant to be fun. It shouldn't be a stress on your overall life. If you make some money, great. If you don't make it money, at least you had fun with it. And I just think, we talked about some really good things about like just good life balance and making sure that you keep things tempered here in the crypto world, because when money is involved, especially money attached to meme coins, it comes and goes fast. So keeping that level head and just keeping, the understanding and not letting this stuff weigh on you too much emotionally is a very important part for both of our investment teams, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Completely agree. And I think the meme coins like Doug, like Hege, and quite a few other projects as well that are they're all working together with the community, with the developers, with the team, all working towards a goal. And I think they're going to be the real winners in the long term. We see a lot of moodang and celebrity meme coins, things kind of flash in the pan. And obviously, if you can get in early, that's brilliant. And good luck doing that, because it's pretty difficult to do. I think in terms of building long-term projects, if you just continue building the content out, building the community, making people feel like it's a safe place, you can talk about anything, kind of join in and participate. I think projects like these will be the main winners this cycle.
Well, we've got about 10 to 15 minutes left in the space here. And normally this is the time where we like to kind of chat a little bit about the Doug the Duck project and what we've been working on recently and stuff. But a good question that I always kind of put in there for an intro is for today's speaker to kind of say, how did you essentially hear about the Doug the Duck project, and what do you know about us? And, when did we maybe start to get on your radar?
So, I think I heard you guys in a space a few months ago, and I thought, the project looks great. I had a quick look on Dextrine, and the website as well is really nice. I really like how you've got all the sort of resources there for the community to get content and download memes, and the animated series as well. Really awesome, and it ties back into the narrative, which is great. But I think predominantly the main reason was I think it was probably last week it kind of put you guys back on our radar is Thomas, who I think is quite prominent within your community. He was like a very early investor in Hege as well. And he's still with us, but he's obviously a bit more active in Doug. He kind of sent a message and referred us on. And I think we're very similar projects in the way we're just honest. We're trying to build something good. We focus on quality content. So that's kind of how we got introduced.
Beautiful, man. And much like you guys, where you try to essentially create value through NFTs, like a lot of the ways that we really try and create value is like through good branding and through good content. Like you said, we've definitely, I know, impressed you guys just with our overall content. You're a digital artist, a graphic artist, so you can understand like when something is, truly original and not artificially intelligence generated. So it's kudos to a lot of the work that our artists are doing. We've got 2 full-time artists on our project, and they are consistently working on the comics and the cartoons. We had episode 9 get released for the comic yesterday, and the video gets released today. Battling Slurf and bringing him back to the pond. The comic book series is essentially us going around and beating up all these memes and bringing them back to the pond to, have this huge pond party. And it's something that, we've had intentions to do as much as 30 weeks of comic books. We increased that time frame to 1 comic book every 2 weeks. So that way we could still have good time for our artists to essentially, make good daily content, because, beyond just, putting out a comic book series or putting out an NFT, you have to have good daily content as well. So, that's a big thing that our artists have been working on. And they're also tying up a little bit of the loose strings on a really awesome PFP generator with some of those teasers going out to a lot of our different community members with, different assets and different traits. So much in the way that you're kind of creating custom NFTs, we're kind of creating custom PFPs, and getting an opportunity to see what people like the most is giving us an opportunity to understand, what we might do in the future is create a Doug NFT. It's something that is on our roadmap for much later on in the project, as our continued kind of value plan. So, we're emulating a lot of what you guys are doing to kind of, build value, but we also understand that the PFP generator is kind of our first stab to essentially go out there and figure out what people like the most. So that way you can kind of figure out, what are the highest value percentages to kind of take those PFPs, figure out what the highest value is, and then from that highest value of what people are using the most, make those probably the least amount available when it comes to an NFT project, increase the rarity, so to speak. So we've been doing a lot of different stuff with I guess not NFTs, but with the goal to eventually make an NFT like you guys have.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I think that's a really good way of sort of testing the water as well and seeing what people like. I'd say since we released our NFTs, everyone's got a Hege profile picture now. Before might have had a Hege profile picture, but it would have been a meme. It would have been something else to do with Hege. It wouldn't have been the same kind of silhouette essentially of Hege, which we found since people are using them as their profile pictures, it's really increased our presence on X, on Reddit, wherever you have a profile picture. It's been great. So yeah, that's a really good direction for you guys to go in, I think.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I mean, we definitely think it's something that we can get onto, but we talked a little bit about how you get the word out and stuff. And obviously, Doug's got 2 new partnerships that are getting in the final stages with larger KOLs in the scene that have reached out to us, like you said, that we've drawn interest from very recently. So, we're looking to kind of continue that process of bringing more advocates onto the project. And then, of course, making amazing animations and just trying to push those on X. And of course, we're pushing out a lot of our content onto multiple different social media sites, whether it be YouTube or Twitter, or now we're getting into Reddit. Like you said, you guys got 1,500 Reddit members. We'd love to try to get up to those numbers. And most recently, with putting all of our cartoons and stuff up on YouTube, we've got already about 37,000 subscribers. And these podcasts are getting posted across probably about 10 different global podcast platforms. So we're starting to get a lot of buzz about the project as well. And, just finding different avenues to connect different people. I always say it takes upwards of 5 to 7 different times for somebody to see you before they ultimately become a buyer of the project and a believer of the project. So you obviously have to have a thriving community, because you've only got one opportunity to make an impression when somebody comes into your project. And when they see that the community is always lively, when they see the TG is always lively and absolutely buzz in, and people are just excited about the project and less worried about the price, that's when amazing things, I think, really start to happen, and you start to attract more and more and more investors. So, kudos to you guys, because I know that you have done a lot to continue creating value over this 6-month span of trading sideways. And I think that's going to pay dividends when the real bull rush starts here soon.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the problems we're having at the moment, though, is we've done so much content. We've got over 1,000 different memes in our meme folder created by myself, the creative team. And it's how do you show all of this content? How do you show all these animations that you've done? How do you get it in one place where people can see it without having to scroll through a million different things? That's kind of the challenge we've got at the moment. I don't know if you guys have anything to say on that. I know you've got the sort of media collection on your website, which is really cool. I think it's
honestly, that has led to a lot of huge memes, is just having that outlet on the website, giving people access to the snippets from the digital artistry so they can make their own memes, and then taking that bank and just making sure that you're posting upwards of 5 to 6 different times a day. We've got multiple people here in our group that are constantly posting content, creating content. And that is a big way that we've just been able to continue using people's memes and essentially get it on the docket for release. So we've definitely leaned on a lot of community members, and we've had a lot of different meme coin contests and some really amazing projects that have been done by different artists and people out in the real life that kind of support the Doug the Duck project. So I would probably say that just utilize it and get it out there, create a schedule and launch it as much as possible, and continue to take in those initiatives. And your community obviously really appreciates any time that you use their work and then go and post it and give credits. That just creates a more engaged community member, and then they get buzzing in the community TG, and then other people want to have that same euphoria. So I think that's a big thing that's definitely been supportive in a way that we keep our community members engaged.
Yeah, for sure. I think rewarding people for the work they do is incredibly important. We've had quite a busy time with the NFT collection. It kind of took our attention away from making sure we really do appreciate people and sort of reward what they're doing. We decided today we're doing a kind of a series called Wingman of the Week for Hege, which kind of ties into his whole thing of trying to get his crush Hegena. But that's basically just highlighting a community member that's been sort of gone the extra mile or been the most active for that week, and giving them a free NFT, showing them a bit of appreciation. As you said, I think it goes an incredibly long way.
Well, we are starting to get towards the end of our podcast here. So I like to take this moment to give you an opportunity to do a little sign off and, just some final closing moments about your project and stuff. I know both of our charts look really amazing. We're trading, right underneath a long trending resistance line. And when you really start to see those resistance points break and expand, like for you guys, which is right around that $12 to $13 million range, I think if you get over that, you start to give a little bit more confidence to your investors that the price is continuing to move up. It's nobody knows exactly, what the goal is for the end game, but when you really start to break down some of these long trending resistance points, it sometimes it takes on a life of its own. I know that we broke through one of those around the $1.2 million market cap, and have now been trading nicely above 2 to 2.5, with a lot of people getting excited about the project and seeing the growth. So I know that you guys are trading sideways. You're right about to go through that exact phase. So the biggest thing that I could just say is just to keep pushing and keep showing up and keep the community members engaged and holding, and then hopefully that allows you to bring in new investors with new capital.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. I think both charts are looking really good. I think especially your chart is it's had a huge consolidation, and it just looks like it's just gonna one day you're just gonna wake up and it's 100% up. And then that's what we found. We had a very long consolidation, and then one day I think in a week we were up 400% or something like that. It can just happen so quick. And I think, if you keep building, keep engaging the community, keep creating value, then inevitably one point it's just going to happen. It might not be for any reason at all. It might just be you have a few whales and the stars align and off to the races you go. I think when you start pumping up, it can go absolutely crazy. And, you might be able to see on your chart, okay, maybe the next leg up we'll get to 8 million, but it could be 50 million. You just don't know with these things. It can get really crazy, especially as liquidity and market cap start to separate as well. I think it takes less funds to pump basically the higher you get. So anything can happen. So I think we're both in a really good spot. I think said kind of creating value and keep on building, keep on being consistent, and then the day will come where it just completely explodes, and that's when you kind of reap the rewards.
Well, hopefully we see some of those moments like we've seen in the last couple of weeks with projects like ADA and Pop Dog that essentially sat flat, trading sideways for a long extended period of time, only to expand, like you said, upwards of 400 to 500% in a span of days, just because they continued to work for their project and community. So Obviously, we've given a lot of tips for how you can make a successful meme coin community, which, as we've definitely discussed throughout the day, is the basis for why a project is or isn't successful. Part of those fundamentals, if you will, is having a good community that is behind the project and keeps people engaged and want to be in the project. Obviously, nothing here said by either of us is financial advice. There, is no expectation of profit or income that comes with cryptocurrencies and meme coins in general. At the end of the day, it's an investment into a community, and it's community ran projects, and it's the best communities are the ones that have the most successful projects by continuing to attract community members that believe in the meme. So at the end of the day, we're out here to have fun. We're out here to build communities, build connections, and enjoy meme coins. And if we make a little bit of money on the side, great. But nothing in this life is guaranteed. So just want to kind of throw that out there and stuff. I mean, that's why I like my communities. And that's why I essentially pick my projects it's really community based. So I'm happy about Doug the Duck and where we're going, and Hege, you've got a lot of the same things going as us. It's been great to see you successful, and I wish you continued success as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think as I said, both projects are really looking great, and I think as Bitcoin starts to head up as well, I think it's about to get really, really crazy. So I've said it to the community. I think just in general, not even with meme coins, but just like now is time. Just pick your conviction plays and wait for it all to kick off. Basically, not financial advice, of course, but that's kind of just what I've done in my experience.
Well,
but thanks for having us. Yeah, really, really appreciate it. We've said you're a great project. Really, really good stuff going on. So, appreciate you sort of taking the time and allowing us to speak.
Yeah, well, we appreciated having you here, man. So, and if you're listening here, make sure on your respective social media site to like, post, and replay if you enjoyed the space here today, so other people can hear about what it takes to make a successful meme coin project. And we'll look to do some more podcasts. We usually do these Fridays at least once a week and post it up. So make sure to share it with your friends and stay tuned and stay watching the Doug the Duck social medias for the announcement of our next podcast and who our next future guest is going to be. So with that being said, we'll do a little bit of a sign off, and we appreciate all of you listening to our podcast today.
Hey, are you ready for our bullish talk show? We got guests for days, all queuing in a row. The biggest names in the DeFi space, black, white and yellow, guests from every race. So hands off your dick, it's now you're in love. We're talking crypto daily with a big pump duck. Big duck energy, let's make banks fast. Come chill with us here on the Pondcast.